Rev up your engines! Today I'm going to show you how to totally check out a used car before you buy it. I'll show you everything I do when I check it out. Now in this case, it's a 2017 Jeep Compass, four-wheel drive, and anybody knows me, I tell somebody not to buy this thing in the first place. But I'm an honest mechanic. The guy has bought it from one of these places where they give you a 7-day guarantee, and if the mechanic says that it's got problems, they give him their money back. So he's already bought it, but it's still within the window of the 7 days. So I am going to honestly check everything to see what kind of shape it's in now, even though I myself would never personally buy such a car. The first thing I look for is wreck damage, and that's where this little paint gauge comes in handy. I can check various areas of the paint to see if it's been repainted, look for colors, and look for thickness changes. Now just by looking I can tell that this is slightly a different color than this. So I know it's been wrecked here for sure, because when I measure the paint on this side, it's 6.15 mils. But measured on this back side here, it's 8.25 mils. This has been repainted. And if you look closer, you can even see they did a crappy job. Right here, paint's already starting to chip off and starting to rust. And just overall, you can see the sloppy work that's done on these cars. This is 6.45 here, 7.5 there, 6.0 on the other side here, and down here it's 4.6. Here we're probably talking mainly of the sloppy job that Jeep does when they paint them in the first place. I've gotten these new ones myself. Brand spanking new. The customer buys them, bring them over here, they got 20 miles on them, and I can often find great variations in the paint thickness in one area. It just means that they painted them like crap, showing the low quality of Fiat Chrysler to begin with. But after all, it's just paint. If you don't mind a little chip here and there, and that it's thick in one part and thin in another, and you like the vehicle, well, that's no reason to actually not buy something, but it does show that it wasn't built that well and that it has been hit and painted on that one corner at least. When you get things in the 7s, things in the 6s, it really was either painted poorly in the back to begin with, or more often it was wrecked in the side and the back, and they did a crappy job painting both the side and the back. But then again, that's cosmetic stuff. I tell the customer they can make a decision what they want to do on it, maybe try to get them to lower the price because it had been wrecked or something if they wouldn't tell it was wrecked. But the main thing is checking it electronically and mechanically with my giant scan tool. We'll just open the door and plug it in. Now it's lit up and working. Then turn the key on so it has power. And click diagnosis. Click the automatic selection. Read the VIN. There's the VIN. Okay. Got all the information right? And we'll do a full diagnosis of auto scan. It takes a while, but it checks an awful lot of stuff. Now so far it's found two problems. One in the central gateway, there's a fault. And another one in the tire pressure monitoring system. And in this case, it's a mild problem, C1000, brake pedal switch circuit performance. I often see these things when they sit a while. So I'm gonna erase this one. Gotta turn the engine off. There, yes. Now it's gonna erase the code. So at one point in time it had low tire pressure. We'll reset that too. When we road test it, we'll see if any of the codes come back. And now I'm going to do a big test that I do when I check out these cars. I'm going to look at all the live data. There's a lot of data, a lot of information. This is where you need a mechanic like me, why I say always pay them to check out, because there's a lot of data and I'm going through it and analyzing as I look for it. But luckily, if it's really bad, this system is color coded. So if it's got yellow or red, that means that there's a serious problem, and it will often make them bold too, and bold face so you don't miss them. So here's what I have to analyze. I look at all the stuff. So far everything I see is pretty normal, but there is a lot of information on these things that can tell you if there's a problem or not. You just have to look at all this data, and a good mechanic knows how to analyze it. You can see modern cars are getting more and more and more complex. That's why you need a machine like this and a mechanic who knows what he's doing when he's checking out a used car for you. You can't trust anyone, and you can't trust anything except the live data and how it's analyzed by somebody who knows what they're doing. And as a machine like this, of course, that will give you problems then they'll be color coded. So far everything looked fine in that. That's the engine control module. Now I'm going to look at the transmission control module, because these things are notorious as they age to get transmission problems. But I mean, really, this thing only has 30,000 miles on it, so we're hoping there's nothing else. So we'll go to the transmission control module, click OK, and then we're going to analyze the live data for that. And here comes all the live data. And as usual, I have to look at it and see if there's any bad data. This is where a mechanic who knows what he's doing is very important. No, it didn't show any bad data. That's a good thing. And when you are fixing the cars, you also need a machine like that, because you got to do bi-directional testing of solenoids and switches and stuff. So really, modern cars, you need a good mechanic to check it out, either when you're getting it checked out for purchase, used, or fixing it. They're no longer my grandfather's day where you got a hammer and a screwdriver and bash things to fix them. Those days are pretty much gone. Now, of course, you can't trust anybody, so you got to check all the windows. Make sure they all go up and down, front and back. And then back to the other side. And then go outside, have the headlights, check all the turn signals, make sure everything's working, because stuff can be hidden that you'll miss. Maybe it's just a bulb that's not working, but it could be even worse. So always check everything. And the wiper blades. And then of course you want to make sure the air conditioning works. Get a little thermometer, turn the AC on full blast, recirculate, then close the door, maybe 5 minutes, and see how cold it gets. Make sure the fans are coming on. These are blowing nice and fast. Cool it for the air conditioning. And here we go inside. Now let's see how cold it got. About 40 degrees, that's pretty cold. It's 99 degrees outside here in Houston, so this got down to 40. The AC's working perfectly fine. Now we already know that this has been repainted. Maybe it was just a little minor stuff. So we're gonna check is the distance between the tire and the front. That's 4 fingers. Now we'll check the other side. 4 fingers again. So it hasn't twisted the frame or anything. Now, strangely enough, the owner just called me on a blower and said he was worried about how it shifted. So we're going to take it for a ride and see how it shifts. Realized that there were no transmission codes and the data looked okay. But this is a Jeep, and they have notoriously crappy transmissions that don't shift that well. I've rented them in the past, and I've rented them with 4,000 or 5,000 miles on them, and they started to shift crappy even then. So we'll take it out on the highway and see how it's shifting. He said that when he let go of it at certain speeds, he kind of feel a little jiggle in it. I can feel it right now when it goes down and jiggles a little bit. It's pretty much normal for these Jeeps. Especially when you slow down and come to a stop, you'll often feel the transmission go a little bit squirrely on these Jeeps. We'll see what it does when we take off. A little bump there, but nothing outrageous. These 6-speed Jeep automatic transmissions slip and slide when you're driving them around. This one actually is less than most. I mean, you can feel a little, they're kind of sloppy, slippy shifts that they have in them, but this one's working pretty much as it was designed. Like I say, it's nothing special, and as they age, they can be really expensive pains, but this particular one isn't falling apart yet. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a slip and a little clunk once in a while, but it's pretty much normal for these things. So now it's pretty much up to the customer. I didn't find anything serious wrong with it other than it had been hit and repainted in a few spots, but everything in it works pretty good. I tried the 4-wheel drive, that worked fine. So if he wants to keep it, he can go ahead and keep it. Like I said, I wouldn't have bought it myself, but I checked it out professionally and honestly, and this one is in as good shape as I've ever seen one that had 30,000 miles on it. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.